All right, our meeting is September 29th, now
The
open.
dog goes up to stand up for the pledge of allegiance.
Any comments from the public? Anyone would like to address the board with comments? Sure.
Andrew Vincelet, 85 Maple Street, Rouses Point. There's a couple things I'd like to touch bases with. I tried to get hold of you, Junior, earlier, but you're a busy man. I brought this up to the board when I was on the board, and it's still an issue. May I approach the board? Good detail?
Sure.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yep. It's just my bad drawing. Oh, sorry.
Yep.
Oh. Don't worry, Donna, I got one for you too. I live on Maple Street, and there's a four-way stop on Academy and Maple. That's at the school. And there's a problem with the vehicles coming down Academy or blowing Academy stop sign and then just racing to beat the traffic from Lake Street. There's so many people, all my neighbors, we're willing to pay for 2 stop signs to be added onto Maple Street. As you can see at the very bottom, add stop, to make that a 4-way intersection, just to try to deter the traffic from speeding through that intersection so badly. I have videotapes at my home because I have camera system of cars passing other cars in front of my house, which I'm in a school zone. This is all throughout the day. The cars should not be going that fast. The other thing is, you can see the end of school zone. I'd like to move it to where that other stop sign, I'm proposing to put that stop sign at, because right now it's only 2 houses from the school itself. And I'd like to move it to that 4-way intersection where it begins. The beginning sign is just adjacent across the street from it. So I'd like to move that just a little bit more. I know it's aesthetics basically, but you know, if it begins at one spot, it should end at the same, in my opinion. Again, we would, all my neighbors besides myself would pay for this out of pocket, just even move that sign, just to try to tour some of this. I know I only got 5 minutes, so I'll just leave that one as is. The other thing is the rumor of the bike trail. When I was on the board, people came up to me and said, hey, the bike trail from Champlain is now stopping at Rouses Point. Is that true? Anybody know? Because when we gave that grant, it was to, you can attest to this, it was to bring it all the way into Rouses Point and pave all the way in.
It comes into the village, yes.
It does come into the
Yes.
village, because I was told it was going to stop right at the top of the hill, right after the golf course. So I was just like, I really don't know. So I didn't know. The last thing I have is, again, I've been hearing a lot of rumors, a lot of people still talk to me about the police department. I know this is a never-ending story. I know there's 40 complaints a month to the police, our local police. There's been more domestic theft and arrests in the past 3 months than the past 3 years. Do we need police? Yes, we do. There's no time to do tickets when they're doing all these complaints. You can talk to the police force, they will tell you this is true. I know our second person, he has put in for the sheriff. I don't know if you want to lose a part-timer, but I didn't know what your plans are. Are we gonna be putting in a part-timer after this, when he goes, if he doesn't stay? Or can we actually move it to be a full-time position? I know it'd be approximately $1,000 per, or $1 per thousand on per household. And I also knew that we were pursuing a grant, skipping 1 year. Is that correct? We've been 1 year past, right? I believe. Well, I know we were gonna be able to do a part-timer and then have a grant to fulfill a second full-time position, totally paid by the police academy. So that's just what the topics I had, and I just busted through really quick, so.
All right, we appreciate it. We will get information on the bike trail for the next meeting from the county legislator. We certainly are aware of your support for the police. And we'll have the police look into what's going on with traffic through the school zone. So thank you. Anyone else? Any other comments? Okay. We're going to look at minutes from the previous meetings, so you're going to find several of them in there. We need a motion to approve the minutes of the September 6th regular meeting, as well as the Tuesday, September 6th special meeting held at the village office, and the Thursday, September 9th meeting with changes held at the village office.
Make a motion to accept the minutes.
Second. Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion's carried, thank you. Okay, if we look at the bills, you all should have received those last night in your box. Any deletions or additions?
We have one addition this evening, it's business card, it's in the amount of $7.92. It's meal expenses for the supervisory training class and everything like that.
The board have any questions on the bills?
Make a motion to approve the bills.
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion's carried. Madam Clerk, you have some correspondence to read first?
I do. The first one is a letter from Aaron Babby, dated September 8th, 2016, to whom it may concern. I am writing this letter to formally accept the title and position of Recreation Maintenance Worker for the Village of Rouses Point effective September 12th, 2016. In accepting this title, I am formally resigning from the position of laborer for the Village of Rouses Point, September 12th, 2016. Thank you, Aaron Babby.
Okay, could I get a motion to approve or accept this resignation and his acceptance of the position?
I'll make a motion that we accept Aaron's resignation from the labor class and to promote him to the maintenance position that we've talked about previously.
Recreation Minister. Okay, second on that?
Second.
Further discussion? All those in favor? Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Next letter?
The next is from Joe Treadwell. I would like to offer my resignation from the zoning board since I am moving out of state. It has been a pleasure to serve the Village of Rouses Point. Thank you for allowing me the opportunity. Sincerely, Joe Treadwell.
Could I get a motion to accept that resignation?
I make a motion to accept it.
Have a second?
Second.
Discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, motion carried. Anybody wants to be in the zoning board of appeals, we've got openings. So if you feel civic-minded, it's not a lot of meetings, but it's important when the questions come up interpreting the zoning code. So think about it. We have one more letter?
We do, dated September 15th, 2016. Dear Mr. Mayor and Village Trustees, first, we would like to take this opportunity to thank the Village Board for all their support of our community stage. We had a very successful year in 2016, and we contribute much of our success to the utilization of the LED sign that the Friends of the Stage donated to the village. As you are aware, the Friends of the Stage worked hard to obtain funds to purchase the community sign, and it appears to be a huge success for local nonprofit organizations. The sign has been beneficial to these organizations, and it provides residents and visitors passing through our village of upcoming community events. However, it has been brought to our attention that a local community veterans organization has been denied use of this sign. We understand and support the fact that the village board set up guidelines for the use of the sign, but we strongly believe these guidelines need to be updated. All we are requesting is that the village board update the guidelines to allow veterans organizations within the town of Champlain, our community, use of the sign. The intent of the stage committee, when we purchased the sign and donated it to the village, was that the sign could and would be utilized by nonprofit organizations to promote our community. We strongly feel that especially a veterans organization with our community would be given the opportunity to use the sign. We encourage and we hope, and would hope that the village board will agree with our request to include veterans organizations with the town of Champlain use of the sign. Even if you were to include a caveat that organizations within the village of Rouses Point have priority to an organization outside the village, but within the township. We thank you in advance for your consideration, and if you have questions, please feel free to contact me at 297-3409 or contact any member of the stage committee. In addition, we would be happy to meet with the board as a group if needed. Best regards, Dennis Roberts, on behalf of the Friends of the Stage Committee.
Thank you, ma'am. You see on our agenda, we have a review of the LED sign message board usage policy, which we did the last time, but in light of this request, we'll be discussing that later in the meeting. First off, I have it's always a great pleasure to present some recognition to another employee, and this one is from the New York State Conference of Mayors and Municipal Officials. Presents a 30-year certificate of public service to our treasurer, Arsene Letourneau. Please come forward, sir. Arsene just returned from a conference there. Congratulations, 30 years. I understand he got a plaque when he was there too for going to 25 conferences. So he's really into that rubber chicken circuit here. He must enjoy it. So thank you, Arsene. 30 years. I know it's more here in the village, but for Nikon, that's pretty good. All right, we have an update on our Rouses Point Fitness Trail from our recreation leader, Jan Letourneau. Mrs. Letourneau, you have the floor.
I thank you very much for having me. There was a great article in the Sun last week. Tia Dowling wrote a nice article on the updated fitness trail, so I hope everybody had a chance to read that. As we mentioned, the fitness trail was finished paved in September. The next step is to spread the dirt around the edges of it, which Benny Arno has organized a volunteer day this Saturday, September 24th, 8 o'clock in the morning. So everybody bring a rake, right, Benny?
Yes.
All right, so weather should be cooperating, and we hope to get as much dirt spread around the edges of the trail so that there aren't the tall drop-offs that we have right now. 4 benches from Eastern Adirondack Healthcare Network have been received and are awaiting installation. I've talked with Cody about where those are going to be positioned along the trail, and the sites have been determined, so hopefully the installation should take place in the next few weeks between putting the ice down in the rink. They'll be putting the benches together and pouring the pads. So that's coming up. We're planning a grand opening celebration for a ribbon cutting ceremony for October 15th at 1 o'clock with representatives from the Clinton County Youth Bureau to attend and help run that function, as well as representatives from the Clinton County Health Department who helped us secure the grant that paid for the walking trail. So right now we have a counter set up out there, and it's counting people as they use the trail. So in the first 44 days that they've measured, outside of when they were doing the construction on it, we're averaging about 32 people a day on the walking trail, with peak hours being between 2 and 4 p.m. and 6 and 8 p.m. So we've got, the counter will stay up, then county comes up, they take the data off of it, and then they go back and they send me graphs and charts and all kinds of pretty colored pictures to tell me what's going on. So right now, I think we can successfully say that the walking trail itself is being supported by the community. So the trustees, I put on in front of you there some information. The top sheet is the letter that we passed out to various individuals and businesses in the community. We went to over 90 different businesses in the surrounding area, focusing our asking for donations for the fitness equipment to the Rouses Point Champlain area. Just today, we've gone over the halfway mark. We received 8 donations today, and we have 3 pending that we're getting ready to send in. So we'll be halfway to our $10,000 goal. So we're hoping we have 11 days left. So we're trying to crank out and get a bunch of information out there and encourage people to support that cause. I'd like to pass around, Tom, if you want to take a look at some of that. The picture on the front of that catalog is kind of what our Our goal would be to get for a piece of fitness equipment. This is one company, this is not the only company. I just had a company contact me today. They're sending me a catalog. But we are looking at equipment that is not normally out there, like sit-ups and push-ups and chin-ups. We're looking at stuff that'll be more for core exercises and balance control. So that's what we're looking, the fitness equipment in that kind of, from that kind of manufacturer is pretty expensive. And then we have to include shipping, taxes, and put it in the ground. So that's what we're looking at. But we will use whatever money we get to buy whatever we can afford to get good quality equipment. I've also put in for other grants. I put in for a fairly large grant through CVPH Foundation. So we're not relying solely on this. We're seeking all kinds of ways that we can come up with money. So the second page that you have, just to show you that we have, just yesterday or this week, we received an article in the AARP Bulletin that says there is a crucial relationship between exercise and brain power. Just as exercise helps keep your muscles strong and blood vessels flexible and stress low, it also enhances mental abilities, stops brain shrinkage, and promotes the formation of new neurons. So you'll also see that they did research that showed that people who exercised actually showed that the brain matter in the part of the brain called hippocampus increased in size. So be careful if you're out there walking and you don't want your brains to get too big. But there's also a connection with dementia, that exercise reduces by almost 50% your risk of developing dementia and Alzheimer's. So I think that the walking trail and if any fitness equipment that we can afford to be able to put along there will be beneficial to everybody in the community for various reasons. So I would ask that you, if you haven't already had a chance to contribute, look at it, go on to the website, click on it, put in a contribution. Every little bit up to $200 is matched 100% by New York State Health Foundation.
You haven't talked about what the name of the website is.
The website that you have is called IOBY, which stands for In Our Backyards. So it's IOBY.org /project/Rouses Point Fitness Trail. But if you go to IOBY.org, you can just look up the Rouses Point Fitness Trail and it'll take you right to the website.
And there's some matching funds from IOB.
New York State Health Foundation is matching those funds through IOB. IOB is our format that we're using to be able to raise the funds as a not-for-profit organization.
And they'll match how much?
Up to $200 for individual donations and up to $5,000 total. So we're really technically trying to raise $5,000, but it's a live match. So if you go on the website, you'll see today it shows $4,950. So we've raised half of that in donations, and the other half of that amount, that $2,000, is from New York State Health Foundation. So we still have $5,000 more to go to get the total of 10.
I'll tell you what,
Yeah, go ahead.
I'll tell you what. The money that the village gives me for being a trustee for the month, I'll donate that.
That'd be great, Benny.
How much that is, $300 or whatever, 200.
That's a lot.
You need that much? I more than I do.
The only
I don't know what it is, I don't know, I never look at it, I
Well,
don't.
put it in 2 different donations and we'll get a
Yeah,
whole
get
match for the whole thing.
200 at a time from the mansion.
Yeah. Thank you.
Uh,
Do you have any questions?
That's very generous. We, I want to ask our treasurer, the purchase of this equipment, would we pay tax, we wouldn't pay tax on that, would we?
Not if the village is buying it.
Well, that's who's gonna buy it, they're gonna give the money to the village.
You gotta follow your procurement policy and
Right. And
so on and so forth.
after 30 years, you've got that right there. Oh, okay, good.
Thank you.
Any other questions for Mr. Letourneau? All right, thank you, ma'am.
Thank you very much for doing a fine job.
Thank you.
All right, well, I'd like to turn it over now to Trustee Moore for an update on our EMS situation. His committee's been working hard to, let him finish that.
Champlain EMS had a meeting with their board members Thursday night, and they agreed for $75,000 for the coverage, 6 in the evening, Sunday night till Friday evening at 6. start January 1st to write up a contract. Of course, we're gonna look at it, lawyer's gonna look at it. And people, it has nothing to do with the town of Champlain. This is just Champlain EMS only. We're working out a contract with. So hopefully the contract looks good and the lawyers agree with it, and we'll see if we can do it and start January 1st.
75,000, that's a yearly price?
Correct.
How much did that, do you know how much that works out per thousand on the taxes?
About 59 cents.
Okay, 59 cents, we had discussed that before. 59 cents, we also,
About.
yeah, we also pay so much per thousand for ambulance services now. Does this 59 cents take in place of that, or is this 59
Add it
cents
on.
gonna be on?
Add it on.
Gonna be on top of that, so we actually don't know a true figure yet.
No.
For that 75,000, that's.
That's right, for this.
Yes.
So, right, I'd have to look back and do the calculation on that. What about the status of our ambulance? Are we giving them an ambulance?
No,
We're not.
we're just giving them money. And they don't, we don't give them our men, we don't give them our ambulance, supplies or anything.
Okay.
You just have to put a sticker on our ambulance.
No,
No?
that's a different.
Oh, that's right, that's the other one, sorry, yeah.
Are we gonna be responsible for any charges other than the $75,000
No,
at this point that you know?
we'll have to look at the contract, but accordingly, what they were told me, no.
Champlain Moore's EMS is a nonprofit
Their own.
organization, and we're contracting with them
That's correct.
to provide the service, but we're maintaining the volunteer portion of our service apparently for 2 days.
For the weekend, yes.
So it's still, hopefully we can do that. If we can't, then we're gonna have to
We'll have to figure another.
go deeper. So, that's where we're at. So once, we've got a contract coming for the attorneys to review and, for the board to share a report on.
Yep, and we'll go from there.
Well, I appreciate you guys putting all the time that you put into it, and hopefully this is gonna ensure that our residents are able to call 911 and have someone show up at an ambulance in a timely manner, as they always have. Tough time for Rouses Point, and pride themselves in having volunteer service for all this time, but the requirements have just crushed us, so. All right, the next item on the agenda is listed as auditor's report for fiscal year 5/31, 2015, fiscal year ending 5/31, 2015. We had what's called a Section 408 audit, and part of that law says the board of trustees shall audit or cause to be audited by an officer or employee of the village or by a certified public accountant or a public accountant engaged in it for that purpose, in order to look through sporting records for our village. Overall, the conclusion of the audit, the CPA said we believe that adequate tests of control of the procedures have been conducted either by the board or by our firm to permit the board to conclude that the board has audited or caused to be audited the records and reports, and there was no problems. It did bring up some interesting facts that I thought maybe we should share with the public. I don't know if anyone's heard, but Pfizer's leaving. Been hearing it since 2005, and I think everybody is kind of like the sky's falling, and they just really can't believe it. Our best information at this time is from Pfizer, is that they will be here through 2017, and in 2018, they're decommissioning, and they're out the door. As you know, they've already taken some buildings down, and there's a very distinct possibility they're going to take several more down prior to their departure. Discussions with them about why there hasn't been a sale yet, or why someone hasn't committed to buying it, has primarily revolved around the fact that they can't give them an exit date. They can't say exactly the day they're leaving, so pretty tough for a company to make plans if you, to buy something or to plan a facility when they don't know when they can have it. Pfizer also said they won't break that property of 79 acres up. So there has been interest by a couple entities in separate portions of that, but Pfizer's not going to do it. Now, I was wondering if we ever looked at, or we have looked at, what effect, what's going to actually happen and we don't have those revenues. And we don't have the revenues that Pfizer provides for us. And everybody said, well, it's not that much in taxes, it's not. Well, I found a document from 2005. It shows that at that time, the Wyeth accounted for 25% of our tax levy and 6% of the school tax levy. It accounted for 63% of our water revenue, 41% of our sewer revenue, and 67% of our electric revenues. So we knew that they were a pretty big player, 2005, but we weren't sure they were leaving. Well, knowing how much they contribute to the village in terms of revenue, we thought there would be a bigger impact analysis. Well, I found one from dated March 25th, 2013. And for property tax, at that time, it says the worst case scenario presented removed the 5 Pfizer properties from the tax rolls entirely, leaving a 17.8 loss in tax revenue. That's based on 2012 rates. That would require a 21.5% tax hike at that time of 92 cents per thousand to make up the difference in lost revenue. Total revenue of the property for the tax rolls is unlikely unless the properties are purchased by the IDA or other non-taxing entity and becoming exempt. Now, of course, the value is only going to drop as they deteriorate or are knocked down. And that's the third scenario that was in this study. And it showed that the current land value without improvements, if they knocked all the buildings down, was $2,074,000 versus $25 million with the building. Again, since this study, which came out in 2013, there hasn't been a steady, progressive plan. Like when the doors slam and the revenue is gone, what have we been keeping up each year, trying to add a little bit so that it's not a giant bust right at the end? The answer is no, we haven't. According to the worst case scenario for sewer and water rate impacts, this is again from 2013, water and height projections provided by the village treasurer, that would be you back then, right, Arsen?
Yes.
Rates would more than double to overcome the cost of Pfizer's usage for both sewer and water. That scenario assumes that the costs are the same regardless of whether Pfizer is using water or generating wastewater. Because of the significant investments made by the village on the water system improvements, annual costs will remain high if the burden to repay debt service is shifted off from Pfizer users. Now, I said, okay, well, what about today? Well, that's what this audit brought some things to light. Pfizer currently averages approximately $100,000 a month in electric that they pay for, and water and sewer about $70,000. So that's $1.2 million a year for electric, $840,000 a year for water and sewage. Our electric department has some pretty good cash reserves, but in the last 2 years, it's had an accounting loss of $400,000 each year. We're not getting any rate of return. The Public Service Commission says they want a municipal lighting department to receive a 3.1% rate of return. We're currently receiving minus 3.4%. Now, our last increase in electric rates was 34 years ago, 1982. That's the last time. I don't know anything else that for 34 years has stayed constant. But this has, to the tune of 0.01345 cents a kilowatt hour. You add that with the meter charge and everything else, we're under 5 cents a kilowatt hour. New York State Electric and Gas is 14 cents. So we're about 3 times less. The board's gonna have to at some point consider applying to the Public Service Commission, and this was a recommendation of the auditors, to get an increase in electric rates. And if we increase that base rate by half, it would bring it up to 2 cents a kilowatt hour. So it would increase to 0.5 cent. Not significant, but it would take us out of a loss column when we're doing it. Now, the items that, yes, sir.
Can you, regards to the electric, one of the reasons why it's operating at deficit is because of the depreciation expense,
Right.
which is a paper figure.
Right, a paper figure that represents
Right.
things that are gonna eventually have to be replaced. Now, the auditors pointed that out. And, but 34 years on an increase doesn't seem reasonable. If we're gonna make an overall plan to address user fees that are gonna increase, Pfizer and Champlain Plastic use 51% of our electricity that we buy. Just, that gives you an idea. Now, we have 2 bonds left for the improvements that we made on the water plant, or excuse me, on the water tower. Our payoff date for that is in 8 years. And our payoff date on the wastewater treatment plant is 18 years away. The principal on that's $2.5 million, the principal on the water tower is $1.3 million. So those are still hanging out there. I looked at the budget, just generally to see what we're doing with Pfizer revenues right now. Our total budget's around $600,000, $5,986, or $5,986,000. Now, our general fund revenues, taxes, make up $1,460,000, and that's at a rate of $450 per thousand. So we get $575,506. The remaining 61% of the general fund revenues come from sales tax, state aid, investment income, user fees, and court claims. Now, again, our rate's $450 per thousand. We have our own sewer system, our own wastewater treatment plant, our own municipal lighting department, our own water treatment facility, similar to another community, Plattsburgh. Their tax rate's $11 per thousand. Ours is $4.50. And we needed to balance the general fund if you look at this year's budget, and we took $233,800 from a reserve fund balance. So keep that in mind, we took $250,000 from that. The water fund, it cost us $1,121,000 to operate, and we collected revenues of $726,000. To balance that fund, we had to take $394,000 from the reserve fund balance. Oh, we got a big reserve fund balance. Sewer fund, it cost us $915,975 to operate. We collected $537,700 in revenues, and we needed $400,000 from the reserve fund to balance it. So we took $1,026,744 to balance the general fund, the water fund, and the sewer fund from the reserve fund balance. We looked at the electric fund. It cost us $2 million to operate. We collected $1.32 million. We needed to get $686,000 from the reserve fund balance. To balance our debt service, we had to get almost $20,000. So in total, we tapped the reserve fund balance $1,732,309. The question is, where did we get that money? Well, that represents revenue from Pfizer. We didn't put it in as revenue because, assuming they were going to be gone, it went into the fund balance and was used to balance it out. Which means that we're going to be seriously short when they close those doors, and we're going to need to make some serious, difficult decisions in terms of how much things are going to cost. User fees, particularly, electric rates, taxes. it can't not happen. It's gonna go up. We've discussed it as a board briefly before about having a 5-year plan, a 10-year plan. It seems like that hasn't happened yet. We don't, not quite know why, not just for this board. I mean, we've been on here for 6 months, but since 2005 to now, it hasn't happened. We're in serious, when people say when Pfizer leaves, what's gonna happen, there it is. $1.7 million that we're not gonna have to balance off these funds. And again, the electric, we're not gonna have to buy as much electricity, so the cost won't be as much. But there's not gonna be any change in the water, there's not gonna be any change in the cost to run the wastewater plant. And we're taking $800,000 out of the reserve fund balance. Where are we gonna get that from? It's something that I wanted everyone to be aware of and to think about. The Development Corporation put out you can get them on the internet, they have a thing on non-residential electric rates, just to give you an idea. Non-residential electric rates for NYSEG, 14 cents kilowatt hour on average. City of Plattsburgh, 0.0237 kilowatts winter charge, $3.99 kilowatt summer demand charge, $3.24 kilowatt. Village of Rouses Point, 0.02 kilowatt hour demand charge of $1.50. Residential water rates, non-residential water rates. The town of Plattsburgh is $20 plus $1.51 per thousand, over 7,000. The Village of Champlain, $62.50 or $4.48 per thousand when over 62.50 inside the village. Village of Rouses Point, $43.86 plus 45 cents per thousand used. 2015, the town of Champlain, $10.04 per thousand. Town of Beavertown, $20 flat rate plus $2 per thousand. Sewer rates, again, we're at the bottom of, we're $34.47 a unit per month. City of Plattsburgh, $20.97 plus $6 per thousand, over 3,000. What it demonstrates is that we've been living in a really good situation with having a tremendous employer that generates a lot of revenue for us in Rouses Point, and they're gonna leave, and when they do, there's gonna be a huge impact on user fees, taxes, and we're gonna have to start making, during this upcoming budget season, there's gonna be some numbers, I think, that are gonna be put out there, that are gonna sound like, what? But we don't really have any choice. It's gonna happen. I wanna put it out there, let everyone think about it, and understand that this is gonna require some difficult decisions. But rest of the board, you got some comments on that? I know you worked pretty hard on the budget. Tom, you got anything you can say, add to that?
Just that, everything's gonna be taken a hard look at, how we do business. Not just our funds, how we do business. How our departments run and how efficiently they're running. We're gonna have to take a look at everything. I'm not suggesting any employees lose their jobs, but still, we've still gotta make sure the efficiency is there. We get the most out of it all.
And they have been raising the water and sewer rates over the years. And as if all of a sudden we're gonna raise them up, we have been doing it a little bit where it's not such a hit.
But as it stands now, they're still gonna have to do it.
Right.
So, I mean, and as far as things not changing, salaries. Just look at our salaries of our union employees.
Insurance is killing.
Well, that and insurance and salaries, I mean, in a 4-year contract, they have 11% increase in salary. 6% in the last 2 years of the contract, 3 years each. Those are big raises when you're looking at not having raised electric rates in 34 years. And I think your point of trying to be more efficient is something that we're gonna really have to sharpen the pencil and do good evaluation. So, anyway, it's not the world is not gonna end, but it's gonna cost more. will operate here without having Pfizer revenue. So I just wanted to put that out. Finally, anybody have anything else you want to say about that? All right, we're gonna look at the electronic LED sign message board usage policy. You remember last week, we went through it, and it allowed organizations located within the village of Rouses Point. Basically, as you heard from the stage committee, they're asking that veterans organizations within the town of Champlain, Rouses Point is in the town of Champlain, from their viewpoint, they would like them to have the opportunity to use that sign to advertise for their events. What kind of comments do you guys have on that? What are your thoughts on that?
I don't see any problem with other people using it, as long as it's for the rec center to bring business to the rec center or whatever, I think.
Well, no, what they're saying is, you know, like, let's say the VFW in Champlain is having a, they want to advertise it.
Right.
And they said, their letter basically saying, we should allow them as a veterans group in the town of Champlain to, you know, to post things on the sign.
I can't see no problem with it.
Well, I don't have a problem with where's it gonna stop. Suppose, the school wants something, yeah, or, you know what I mean?
Well, they're specifically asking for veterans groups. I mean, we can review their letter.
But if
That's,
it goes to Plattsburgh or Shazy or whatever, that,
it doesn't. I mean, they're not saying like if, you know, post 1619 wants to do something, you know, that would go on it. They're saying that we're requesting.
well, we are in the town of Champlain, so.
Village Board update the guidelines to allow veterans organizations within the town of Champlain and in parentheses our community use of the sign. Intent was, that was, they're saying, again, you know, they're saying, look, when we donated the sign, we thought that was gonna be part of it. I wasn't part of the board then, I wasn't part of the original policy, but, one amendment they would like, and it's specific, it's in the town of Champlain, it's a veterans group, and besides the VFW, does Champlain still have a Legion?
No,
Do they have any other veterans group in the town of Champlain?
that's what I know.
No.
So I guess it would be VFW
Yeah.
that they would ask for. The second item that came up, we have an organization that's having an event here at the Civic Center, but they're from, I think the Moores Animal Shelter, but they're doing it here, and I know the general feeling has been we're trying to promote the use of this facility as much as we can, not only in the winter, but in the summer, and we thought another amendment would be that any organization who contracts to use or schedules use of this facility for their activity, that they be allowed under the guidelines to post their activity on the sign. So it would be an incentive for people using this facility, say, well, they would be guaranteed that much more publicity, and it may be encouragement for them to use it. So
And they use this facility for free. Correct.
sometimes, yeah, sometimes, but it would get people down here, get them in the village, I mean, get them, you know, and if we had some paid events, again, they would also be here. So what,
I think this should take place in two different motions. One for hour change to allow people who are using this facility to use the sign, and then a second motion to consider the veterans group that we've been asked by the Friends of the Stage.
Yeah, another comment on all this.
yeah, absolutely.
People use it for benefits, correct? Is that basically what it's for? It's not.
Yeah.
I mean, there's things on that sign that says there's somebody singing at the Legion. How's that a benefit?
It's under the guidelines, if I looked at the guidelines, the Legion is a nonprofit organization. allow organizations located type of announcements allowed, community events by a nonprofit, fundraiser, meetings, school cancellations. So I assume that would be considered a community event
Yeah.
or a fundraiser?
Anybody, it's a community event, anybody goes to, to hear this woman sing or whatever. I mean,
My understanding is the Friends of the Stage agreed that the Legion could use it,
Yes, I understand.
but they didn't limit it to basically what they could say on it.
Well, I mean,
Yeah, it's a community event, to be honest with you, really.
yeah.
I don't at least understand why it's,
I think that, that we're, like you mentioned, we're in the town of Champlain, and it's another veterans group, and they have benefits like us. It is what it is. I mean, you guys certainly can kick it around, and as far as, we certainly, I think we need to promote our own facility, and to do that in any way we can.
Arson's got a question.
I just wanna let you know, we've had previous requests too, like from the Methodist Church and the Catholic Church in Champlain. And, so I don't know where you draw the line.
that's what
Well,
I said,
that's
signs
what I-
only
that's
so
what-
big.
That's what I'm saying, we've got a request, we're supposed to do this once a year, we already did it once, and we opened it up this time for, someone came forward, two different groups came forward, and a group using the facility and a group that wants to propose that we use, that we approve veterans groups in the town of Champlain. I think next year, if there's more things that come up, bring them before the board, we'll address them. But I think we should, we're supposed to do it annually. We agreed to open it up for these particular things. It's a loud voice. The Friends of the Stage did donate the sign. It doesn't give them, a bully pulpit to say whatever they want. But, out of respect, I thought, we could do this. So, we certainly can do it in two stages, in two motions. So, do you want to make the first motion? Tom, or?
I'll make the motion to VFW can use it.
Any veterans organization in the town of Champlain?
Correct. Yes, I think that
I'll second that.
Okay. Further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that motion's carried. The second motion is that organizations using the Civic Center for their event be allowed to use the sign to promote that event and the use of the Civic Center.
I'll make a motion that we allow the usage of the sign for any group using the Civic Center, using our grounds here to promote
Where's your activity?
their activities. And
Okay? Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Further discussion?
Yes.
Yes?
I don't know if it can be, or wait till next year. I think you should only have two things on it at a time. Each organization, just two things. Or that could be,
They have the duration of the announcements on here. Community events, 14 days, fundraisers.
no, I'm saying that, say if you're having a band, having a sock hop, having a bingo, should only be two of them on there, not any time for either any
I mean,
organization.
not more than two events
Correct. Per organization.
per organization.
Yes.
No more than two events on the sign per organization.
Correct.
That would be a third motion, right? That would be a third one if you want to bring that up. Right now.
We can always wait till next year instead of playing this out. Wait till
Okay.
next year.
you also might want to think about, let's say, if Rouse's Point comes first, on the use of the sign, and as far as how they show up on the sign, the number of times, anything in Rouse's Point, since it's Rouse's Point, we come first. I mean, there's a whole,
You're
Whole
right.
scenario.
there's a whole plate here that you
Right.
can discuss at
Well,
another
that's what I'm
time.
saying, if we have the motion on the table now that all events that take place at the Civic Center itself, their activities take place here, they'd be allowed to use the sign, and we have a second on that. And our discussion was kind of second. As far as that goes, is there any more discussion? Okay, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, that's carried. Now, do you want to tackle that one right now, trustee Moore, or do you want to wait?
No, we
until-
can wait, there's enough motions.
Okay,
It's not gonna hurt anything, for sure.
all right, so, we have those two motions?
Thank
Okay, we're all set. Thank you, gentlemen, and we will wait until next year for further amendment to the electronic LED sign message board usage policy, and thank you for your patience on that. All right, trustee Moore, do you have anything else besides your email?
I just need a quick executive for contract negotiations.
Okay.
That's all I have.
You can call that at the end of the meeting. Trustee Mott's not here. Trustee Arnold?
Yes, an update on the water. We had a really good water meeting with AES, and Mr. Palkey was there, the superintendent of the village, and they thought that he had a lot of great ideas. And
Are you gonna be doing rehabilitation of the plant?
yes, we're gonna upgrade it a little bit, I guess, if things come back the way we want them and stuff, so, from Jen and Todd, yeah. So,
We have some funds available for that that are coming in, I
Right.
understand.
yes,
So in other words, the plant is gonna be brought up to,
up to snuff, sort of.
I mean, so far, I mean, correct me if I'm wrong, our inspections and everything has been good. The health
Yes.
department has said,
Yeah,
you guys are in
it's
good shape.
But there's some issues on the pumps and the filtering and stuff like that, the bags and stuff.
So I understand that our IEEP program is going to help purchase motors, more
Motor
efficient
parts, yes.
motors.
Save us a lot of money.
Right, I think to the tune of $73,000,
I think that was it, yeah.
right in that general area. I talked to Dave Trudeau, and I'll ask our administrator, was that right, Gene? Was it 73,000?
Split between 2016 and 17.
Right, okay.
Right.
That was it. He would, half of it would come in during 2016, and the beginning of 2017, the other half would be,
Yeah.
so we'd end up with refurbished motors and the pumps and things
Right.
like that. So that's a very positive thing, okay?
Yeah.
What else you got?
All right, in the library, their summer program, last year they had 150 people that attended, 150 to 170 people. This year they had 370 attended, stuff like that. So they did a really good kids program this summer and stuff, so. Also, we have some issues with the library on the bricks. We gotta do something about the bricks. The bricks are just about falling out of place over there.
All around, in the front?
In the front is the worst part.
Do they have to be repointed, or what has to be?
Oh, I think they have to be taken right out and put new bricks back in there. They're pretty bad. And I don't know where we're gonna get the money for this, but, I think they got a grant coming from Betty Little for 2,500.
2,500 or 1,000?
No, 2,500.
How many bricks will that?
Well, not very many, but, they talked about that at their meeting and stuff. Tuesday
So
night.
they're looking into grant money, trying to find,
Right, either that or the village gonna have to do something pretty soon because it's a public building, I mean, it belongs to the village, really.
Right. Well, I mean, if it's structurally unsound, it's either gonna be fixed or close it.
Yeah.
So
And it's used quite a bit, I mean,
I agree.
yeah,
Well,
so, and also
I'd like to see you find
the
some.
roof over the top of the roof over the top of the ramp was supposed to be done this year too.
It's in the grant money, right?
I'm assuming it is, yeah.
Like,
They still have some left over, yeah.
we got a year extension on that for the roof.
There you go, your extension. And you go dig around and find some money somewhere that
Where's
nobody's
the brick?
using.
I ain't donating any more money than mine.
No, I don't.
Donate some of yours.
I'm not asking, I already did. I'm not donating to fix the library though. Okay. Trustee Dart,
Just one thing, I know we're only 3/4 of the way through our year here, but as co-chair of the streets department, I'd like to thank Mr. Pelkey and his crew for the hard work that they continue to do. I know personally in two different situations that there were days where those guys didn't take a break because things were a priority. And that's something that's seldom unseen in some villages, in any jobs. And I would dare say that they get the most work orders of any department within the village. And they're still able to do these work orders, plus maintain their schedule of work. And the village appreciates very, very much, Brian.
That's it?
That's it.
Thank you. Okay, other reports. Start with our administrator. You have anything?
Not for me tonight.
Treasurer?
Just want to thank the board for allowing myself and then clerk to go to the fall training school. As always, it was very informative. You get to do a lot of networking with your fellow peers and get educated on the new rules, regulations that are coming out.
Which are gonna change next year.
Good, yeah.
Plus, it allowed me to get my plaque this year. so.
Yeah, you're going to 25 conferences, that's great.
Make it yourself.
Mr. Pelkey?
Yes, just an update. The county was here Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday. We got all the paving done. They did an excellent job. I would like to see if the board or could authorize the clerk to send them a letter of thank you for their, our appreciation to them for what they save us a lot of money with these shared services. I think the legislators really need to know that they do help us out. And a letter of thank you would be nice on behalf of the board.
Sure.
If you notice on some of our side streets, we've been digging, we have a lot of sewer issues and water issues. So the brand new street on Pearl Street, you'll see there was a couple big, large holes dug in the side of it because of sewers and water problems. And we have another one to do tomorrow on the lower Pearl. So the electric department has all the conduit in on Chapman Street and we're pulling cable.
Great.
So we're staying busy. We have a lot of work to do before the snow flies here.
If, as far as that letter goes, if you can give the clerk some ideas of, they did this, they did that, we could throw a letter together.
I think we usually, there's a generic letter that we send them every year.
Well, if not, come in and
Okay.
I'll do one up with you quickly, or down
I just want them to let them know that we do appreciate everything that they do for us. I mean,
Absolutely.
it saves us a lot of money.
The quality work looks nice.
Yes, they did an excellent job. Crews are very good to work with.
Great. Madam Clerk, do you have anything to add?
The only thing to add is I echo what Arsen said, this is my first NACON meeting. Besides it being overwhelming, I learned a great deal. And I met a lot of wonderful people, a lot of great resources, and looking forward to going back next year. Thank you.
That's great. It's a great organization. We depend a lot on it, so. Okay, I think I hit everybody. All right, end of our meeting, anybody has any closing comments from the public that they'd like to make to the board? Mr. Baffa?
Yes, glad I waited till the end because some of my questions were answered during the course of it. I was concerned about the ambulance situation. I didn't quite understand that from the paper. I'm still not completely sure. I understand it. I know about the manpower issue and all that stuff. We're contracting with the other EMS service in Champlain to cover not the whole week, not 24/7, but just, what? The 5 days. 5 days, and then we're gonna maintain our ambulance service to cover the weekends?
Correct.
Is that what it is?
That's what the report was.
Is it 5 days, is it 24 hours a day?
So is it 20, it's
Yes.
24 hours a day for 5 days, and we're hiring somebody to do that. They're gonna respond from Champlain with their ambulances?
Correct.
So,
It's
how,
Champlain Moore's EMS.
right, yeah, I know, over by the pole light building, right? Now, how is that gonna affect our response times?
I think,
It's gotta double
probably gonna be 10 minutes.
them, anyway.
Yes and no, Tom, because sometimes we can't get out, so, you know what I mean? But if we're sitting home and they're sitting home, yes, we beat them, of course.
Yeah.
But, I mean, it's It's getting, like I said before, we have nobody responding, so they tone and they got toned out in Champlain. This way Champlain gets toned out first, right up.
Right off
We'll
the
get
bat.
toned out with them.
Mhm.
Start the patient care, if we got people available.
So they're gonna try to make as many as they can, at least to
Yes.
start.
Yeah, that's why it's, the contract is supposed to say 30-day, we can opt out, or they can. If we see it's not working well, we'll try something else.
Okay.
It's not a solid year, it's a year contract, but 30-day out.
Trial.
Yes,
Okay.
either one can get out.
Okay. Then my other question that came up as you started addressing the budget and fiscal problems, that I did have some comments on. Now, as I see it, the problem is we're losing revenues because of the plant, but we're still funding services at pretty much the same level that we've always done. We're producing a lot less water, but we still have in my view, an overstaffed water plant that's also deteriorating. Now, Benny was just saying that they're looking into bringing that back up a little bit, but I mean, you got two filtration systems, one of them doesn't work, I understand. The brand new water tower, it's only a quarter full or a third full. Two people on the day shift down there, but if anything breaks, they have to bring in outside crews to fix it. It seems to me that we should be looking in-house to streamline the operation and save money. In other words, instead of just identifying new sources of revenue in the form of either increases or grants or whatever, we should be looking at equal ways to reduce the cost of things. A lot of these different departments have been doing massive reconstructions in the village for a long period of time. Like the electric department has just about rebuilt the entire system over the last 20 years. And I think within another year, everything's gonna be underground, right? The substations are all new and up to date and little used. So I don't know in the future if you're gonna be doing the kind of big projects that you're doing, like this underground electric thing that's been going on since 1994, or maybe even before. You're not gonna be doing that anymore. It's all underground. There'll be maintenance of the system, but you need, and I don't even know how many guys are in the electric department. I'm just saying, half of the year, most of them are working with new construction, putting it underground. Once it's underground, that's done with, you're not gonna be having new construction projects anymore. Do you need the staffing level you have there? Same thing, water plant. The police department, you're spending $130,000 a year on that, and we've got 1.5 cops. Now, 20 years ago, we had 2.5 full-time cops and 5 fully trained part-timers. I don't see where we're getting a bang for our buck here in the police department, and it's, what the board's gonna have to decide is, in my view, is we either have a police department and hire some cops, or we don't have a police department and farm it out to the state police and sheriff's department, who we're also paying for. And I think that's, before we raise the tax rate or anything else, I think those are issues that should be looked at. All the equipment is pretty new. We don't have a lot we don't have like everything falling apart all at once in this village. It's just that with the reduced need for services in volume, there should be some kind of corresponding reduction in cost of providing those services. It probably won't be dollar for dollar, because there's an economy of scale when you make more, but there should be some. And we should be looking at that, and really hard looking at it. I don't know, I just think there's a lot more things that they could be doing to reduce the costs around here that I haven't seen done at all. As far as the rate increases, we had massive water and sewer rate increases over the last 2 years, partially to offset the loss of revenue from Pfizer. The electric thing, yeah, it's true we haven't had a basic line because we've basically been floating in profits from the electric department that we can't spend in any other department, only in the electric department. Now, we had massive increases, as you recall, over the last 30 years on this nuclear power surcharge. That was the trade-off with Pfizer. They exceeded our peak demands and all that, and we had to switch to nuclear. Now, I realize that all those kind of contracts have probably been changed 3 or 4 times since I've been on the board, so I'm not trying to tell you what it is, but it just seems to me we could be back down almost 100% into hydropower. with them gone. Now, granted, some of the hydropower was predicated on jobs for power or something that we got, so an extra allotment for that. But I don't think it's as grim as it could be, but I think we can take steps to prepare for, as we lose revenues, we should have been doing this for the past 5 or 6 years, reducing costs and scaling back and tightening up the operation. And unfortunately, I don't think that's been done. And that's time to look at it now.
We appreciate your comments. I think the board, they're well received by the board. I think trustee Dart's comment about efficiency reflects a lot of what you're saying. And we do appreciate it, and we will definitely take that into consideration.
I've never been for like riffs, but I do think you gotta take a real hard look when you have a vacancy through attrition, to whether you need to fill it or whether you can bring somebody in from another department and fill it,
So again,
you know?
yeah, we appreciate your comments and your experience in this area. It's helpful. And don't be a stranger next time they're looking for petitions to go around to run for the board. Encourage that, all of you. Get your petition out there and run. Get up here. Get up here with your ideas. Exactly. Okay, thank you all for your comments. I need a motion to go into executive session.
Make that
to
motion.
Discuss.
Second.
Okay. Discussion, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, we're gonna be adjourned for now, thank you all, and we're gonna go into executive session.
Thank you.